BTC. Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on? Everybody out there listening to On the Chain that want the best, most accurate, most detailed, most honest opinions on crypto, geopolitics, and all that other good stuff. Ripple XRP. You know what, Chip? Gensler must resign. That's the message that has resonated for the
I
past
have
couple of years.
a counter argument to that.
Okay, that's awesome. So maybe he shouldn't resign. Chip is going to defend
No,
resignation of Gary Gensler. There's
no,
another
no, no,
option.
no, no,
There's
no, no. I
another.
didn't say that. Let's not get crazy now.
There's another option to his resignation. Maybe it's firing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's putting him in the bullpen. Let him go up against Joe Rogan or something. We don't know yet. Can XRP hit $100? Can Bitcoin hit 100,000? What happens when crypto regulation turns positive in the United States and things start moving forward? China issues some new regulatory framework for cryptocurrency. Crypto in China is now considered personal property. That's very interesting. Very interesting developments on a global scale. I don't know what's up with Gary. I don't know what's up with the blue team over here. They still want to take your money and your crypto. Let's get into this thing. Chip, you ready to kick this thing off?
Let me see. Hang on a second. Let me consult with myself. Okay. Chip, you ready? I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
On the chain, everybody. My God, it's so great to be with you. It's family, Jeff. It's family. It's always great to be with family. Except that weird uncle. There's always that weird uncle. It's a little bit, nutty. Hits the sauce a little bit at the holidays. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a little crazy, and then like these recent years, things have gotten really bizarre with the conversations around the holidays, right? There's people more like leaning towards the blue team. There's people leaning towards the red team. Everything is politics. If you don't think everything's politics, everything is political. Every single thing that happens in the world can be tied back to a political, I don't want to say political, but a dogma of sorts. So it's all out there.
And the lines are blurred, Chip. Everyone comes to each other's defense. The notion that you have two parties fighting for the people on their side is those lines are blurred too. Look at not to get out offside and off topic of crypto, but look what happened with Mitch McConnell the other day. Dead stare into the camera. Obviously, there's something going on mentally. Needs to step down. Needs to resign for the betterment of the country and the people that he represents, and for his own health. But look who stepped up to defend him was Joe Biden, saying that it was part of his healing process. So I don't know what's going on. Let's get people with health issues. Let them step aside because their mental health issues are causing turmoil in the markets and in the crypto space in the U.S., which is resonating on a global scale. So that's why we're all here to talk about that, Chip.
Yeah, we're here to talk about a lot of different things here. And I honestly think, so I've been thinking a lot about this, right? And maybe it's my hair is like, I have mannequin hair today. It's going all crazy.
Me too. This
mannequin string here. Well, you have the mannequin that's been like, it's missing like that arm, the torso. That mannequin doesn't have like the wig on. I'm the one that has the weird wig on, like wiry, weird hair. That's me. I'm like nobody wants mannequin hair. It's the worst hair to have in the world, but that's how it is today.
Missing an arm.
You always see it like in a window, but it lost like its arm from like here down. It's, you know what I mean? We all know what that looks like. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I can't really see mannequins like stores anymore. Like I don't want some. It's like it used to be like the full mannequin. It was like some weird face and stuff, and now it's just like the torso.
Right.
It's such a weird thing. But here's what I'm thinking about Gary Gensler. Listen, he's going to be so in the month of September. Happy September, everybody! As we head into the last quarter of the year coming up, but it's funny with Gensler, he's getting hauled into two hearings this month. One is the Financial Services Committee. There's another one too, and I don't remember what that one is, but two of them, and I don't think they're going to be
the Bash.
I don't think they're going to be soft. What is it?
Bash Gary Gensler Committee.
That's what I think this is going to turn into, and I think what's going to happen here is I'm actually rooting for Gary to stay now. You know why? Because he got his ass beat. That was such a beatdown.
Good point.
with the ETF. I'm like, I'm enjoying him losing. And he lost in such a spectacular way. I mean, like, so he's got 4 of the last 5 big decisions that went to the Supreme Court of the SEC. It's not that it's necessarily Gary, but they lost, right? They're losers, 4 to 5. Not a great track record for the SEC. Then you have Gary with the Ripple, decision, Judge Torres. And then you have this latest one where the judge, the 3-0, Jeff, not like 2-1, 3-0, where they actually dug deep and said, well, you don't even have, what are you talking about? You're like, it's crazy town what you're even talking. It's like nothing. It just destroyed the argument. And, Grayscale, this is what I like. Ripple stood up and said, we're not bending the knee, man. We are not bending the knee to these nutters. And they didn't.
Right.
They stood up, and they took a lot of incoming, a lot of criticism from a lot of people. Then you had Grayscale, Jeff, and Grayscale's like, fight. Well, why would you sit down and say, oh, yeah, while you're getting, you bend the knee while you get whipped, like somebody was saying, the whipping boy. So you go fight in court. And this is an appellate court, Jeff. This isn't the lower court. This is the appellate court. This is the lower court, majorly. The appellate court, the next one is like Supreme Court. And now what's happening as a result? SEC dragging their feet about this ETF. But it's ultimately going to happen. You're going to have all the big boys and gals jumping in. All the institutionals are coming in. It's going to happen. It's going to be interesting for Bitcoin. And I think really I think it's actually an exciting development, because I think what we're going to see with Bitcoin is going to be a big shift. And people are like, we talked about this the other night, Jeff. I was like, hey, what are we going to, when is XRP price going to go up? When is this going to happen? Well, largely a lot of it has to do with, not so much with Ripple, but people building on, the XRPL. It's going to be tokenization. It's going to be a lot of different things that are being baked in there, but largely will come out from probably outside of Ripple. And so, supporting projects and becoming builders. We have somebody in the XRP community has something exciting that was released, that becoming a builder. And Jeff, you and I have also explored that too. We ran into some hurdles, but, and that's not the NFT project, but with another project, Jeff and I have been putting together for some time, but it's a lot of work, man. To be a builder in this space, it's a lot of work. So what do you think about Gary? You think he just sits there and takes the beat down, the humiliation?
I think so, because, and the reason why is because he believes he's right. So all of these rulings against him, he believes are wrong. And there's, people in and around him that believes that he's on the right side as well, and so that's part of the issue, is that how do you take someone that's supposedly taught at MIT and was, brilliant in the crypto space, supposedly, and then you put him in charge of this, and the guy is a complete, opposite. Now, it's interesting too, because here's a comment from right in the beginning, NBSP, whatever that, however you want to pronounce that, doubled up with a semicolon and an ampersand in there. So here you got, wow, how things have changed. Remember a few years back when you all thought, now you all don't point fingers at us, because we did not think that he was going to be good for crypto. And we're on record for that. But when you all thought that Gary Gensler was going to be good for crypto, lucky. I remember the name Gary Gensler about 10 years ago with MF Global. And then he goes on, I continue to question whether Chairman Gensler was more concerned with protecting customers' accounts or protecting himself from accountability. And that was Richard Shelby. And that's very interesting. Before I get your feedback on that, just a quick plug. There's another individual that really held his feet to the fire during a congressional hearing. And that congressman, that representative, is Byron Donalds. And incidentally, Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to have Byron Donalds right here with a special show, special time, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys tune in. We're going to get that listed today so everyone can put it in their calendars. But we are going to talk and ask Congressman Donalds about Gary Gensler, because he really held his feet to the fire during a hearing. And that's going to be very, very interesting. Now, Chip, your comment on all of those things.
Which one should I start with, Jeff? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going. Which one should I start with? You like unpacked a lot of stuff. I was
I did. Well, you can start with the NBSP and
yeah. Well, that one there is that's an HTML tag. It means non-breaking space. So it looks like somebody tried to inject some. That's what it is. An NBS and whatever. It's a non-breaking space for.
There you go.
There it is right there. NBSP. It's a hash. It's an HTML tag. So that's what that thing is. So it looked like somebody tried to just be fun with that, like space, or I don't know what that meant, but
and that's it right there. Fun. That's what he did. There's his commentary.
Yeah, it's HTML person. Yeah.
He's a software dev and active in crypto, running his own project.
Great. Well, get in touch with us because we got something going on as well. Go to onthechain.io and then go ahead to the contact page. Send us an email. That'll forward an email to us. But get in touch with us. Let us know who you are. We'd love to bounce some things off you if you're a dev in the space. So let's see.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Space is what it means. Yeah, I was gonna name a band like back in years ago. I was like, people were coming up with names. I was like, let's name it Dev Null. And they're like, what the hell is that? I'm like, no, probably not a good idea. So
Chip, here's Crypto 6 Foot Uphold giving you a ranked NFT for holding XRP on its exchange. And I'm not promoting Uphold. I thought that was kind of interesting. You can become, they give you military ranks on how much XRP you're holding over there on Uphold, and you get promoted and they're giving you a free NFT. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I like the idea of the free NFT. I love the collaboration with, with the guys from Xpunks. But the one thing that I don't like talking about how much XRP somebody has or like what they have. It's like, don't put a target on someone's back. I don't like that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I say like, hey, look at me. I got this.
True.
I'm the general. It's like, okay, it's, I don't know. That part of it I don't like if it is tied to that. I thought the actual ranking was tied to something else. But if it is to how much, how big your bag is, I'm not so sure that's
on XRP or on Uphold. Yeah.
On Uphold, but yeah, and also I watched Crypto Eddie had a fantastic interview with Kai, and I know from Xpunks. Really, guys should go take a look at it. It's really good. And what I loved about it was how the fact is that when we see these new developments that are happening, with the Evers token, Snapshot happened today, by the way. The snapshot for the Evers token. I mean, it's going to be announced in the future or not. They're not that's 100% committed. Like you're getting it, but late stages, Bitcoin jumped in. I mean, Bitrue jumped in and sort of Uphold to support it, meaning that originally the idea was you had to have it on a self-custody. So if you had it in a Zum wallet or you had it on a ledger somewhere or any one of these flavors of these self-custody wallets, but if you had it sitting on like an Uphold or a Bitrue, they also are supporting it, which I think is pretty cool and awesome because, it does give people that opportunity. But the interview really centered around community, and Xpunks did a really cool thing where they went on, Ordinals is on the Bitcoin chain, and they released 100 of these NFTs really kind of for free. But the secondary market went crazy on these. The secondary market, I think, to date, I think it's been over $175,000. So you just go to see like the difference between the XRPL community. It's pretty new. I mean, the exchanges have only been around not even a year for the most part, right? And OnXRP was one of the pioneers in the space building. And then you have XRP.cafe, which is where our badass Yetis are. But what I loved about it was the idea that we talk about siloed data, we talk about silos and breaking down silos. Well, going to other chains and expanding out past, your little community with the blinders on, I think is a really great idea. I think it's a fantastic way. And people I still see in this community, they're always like Bitcoin maxis, but you become an XRP maxi. And again, this is the part that I don't like, Jeff. It's like, I've never been. Bitcoin's been the first thing I've ever held. I still hold Bitcoin. Ethereum, still hold Ethereum. Still, this whole mentality of like, well, they did this, and Ethereum did this, and the Ethereum Alliance, and Bill Hinman, and I really don't care about all that stuff. I mean, at some point, it looks like something improprieties happen. But guess what, Jeff? That's government. That's been happening since the dawn of time, right?
That's, corporations, government, at the end of the day, they get held accountable. If there's an impropriety and the impropriety really exists, someone's going to call it out, and and people will be held accountable at some point. That's happened throughout history. And going down that rabbit hole, you can make your own decisions. Hey, if you think there's impropriety there, you don't want to invest in Ethereum as an example. Don't invest in Ethereum. Find another project. But one of the comments here, um, that I think is interesting from Steve Walker says, debate this. Bitcoin goes up. All of the altcoins or all the other digital assets essentially go up. How does this actually happen? Who buys in unison across all markets? Now, as a market trend's positive, right? There's and there's my opinion. Like Chip, get your opinion also. But and I believe in this firmly that we're not going to see big movement in any of the digital assets until Bitcoin does go up. The reason is because the entire global market is focused on Bitcoin. If you go on to the newscast today and you see scrolls at the bottom for digital assets or stock, what is the one digital asset that shows up in the stock ticker? Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum, but Bitcoin is always on the scrolls on the financial news program. So Bitcoin first mover advantage. Bitcoin is the one that has been relatively quote unquote accepted at government level. It's accepted at financial institutional level, and it has that recognition. And that's not just in the US, that's on a global scale. It's Bitcoin for whatever reason. That's the unknown, that's the question mark. But there's a lot of FOMO built into it. So when Bitcoin starts going up, people are FOMOing into Bitcoin. Whether and you'll see the institutional investors, they go to Bitcoin and they're looking at the top grouping of digital asset as our retail. And that natural progression, the way I entered in back in 17, it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM, IOTA, and then there were a whole bunch of others that I started researching, and that was the beginning. And so you had to go into Bitcoin to get into XRP back in the heyday. Now, obviously different, but as institutions come in, they're coming into Bitcoin first. That's just how it's going to be right now. Things will transition, but that FOMO will spike the market. So as you take Bitcoin from 30,000 to 50,000, you'll get excitement in the marketplace, and everyone's going to look, okay, what are the other assets on the market? Bitcoin is now 50, 60,000, and just mentality of stock holding versus fractional shareholding. I need to own an entire whole. I don't want to have a fraction. So I'm going to put my 100,000 or 1,000 or 100. I want to figure out how can I own wholes instead of fractionals. And that's, relatively the direction that institutions will go, individuals will go, et cetera. That's kind of my opinion. That's why they're all tied together. The market's tied similar in the stock market. When the stock market's on fire, everything's going up, with exception if there's obviously bad financials and all of that. But even that sometimes gets drowned out because there's FOMO, there's excitement. And then when the market's bad, mutual funds and ETFs and things like that might trend well because they might be shorting. They're doing all sorts of things within the fund, but the individual stocks are suffering. They're at, lows, not necessarily all-time lows, but they're trended low from what they were a year ago. Maybe we've improved a little bit since a year ago, but if you look back in the stock market to 2020, 2021, they're at all-time highs. Why? Because we're coming off of an amazing scenario financially in this country, and now we're at an all-time low financially in this country. So the markets trend down. That's kind of how I look at it. You have to connect it back to what Chip said in the beginning. Everything is connected back to the political infrastructure. What do you think, Chip? That was a lot. I kind of went off on a tangent on that one.
But I love these tangents. So they're the best things ever. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't. The thing is, like, you asked me to comment. I was like, I can't add any value to it because I agree with everything he said. It's like, otherwise, I'll just be repeating everything he said. So it doesn't make any sense to hold on. That's one of the things that we're usually. It's crazy. Even when Jeff and I disagree with each other, it's just to probably rib each other a little bit because we're such in lockstep. think a lot of that has to do with like philosophies and stuff. You know, one of the things early on when we met, we realized we're not Bitcoin, we're not XRP maxis. We love the digital assets. We love talking about the ecosystem, but you know, there's a lot of great projects out there. It's like you'd be silly not to explore all the different opportunities and projects out there. I wanted to, Jeff, I wanted to put this up here. This is somewhat interesting. Look at this here. So, you know, so here we go. Let's do a little segue here. I wanted to get into this, a little bit of Ripple news. So, you know, Ripple finally said, hey, the proper party, you know, Brad Garlinghouse, when the decision came out with, you know, Judge Torres on July 13th, he said there's going to be a proper party. Then they floated this whole idea of the proper party. It's coming out on September 29th. And it was so weird, Jeff, because like I've been around the space for a pretty long time, especially crypto Twitter since 17, like really extensively, you know, last 5-6 years. And the people that said they're going don't recognize like 90% of the I'm going. And not that that's a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, from my perspective, I'm like, because you get used to seeing the same type of names that comment and are on Twitter. And a lot of people that respond to that are like, yeah, I'm definitely going. And I'm like, it's weird. Like I don't recognize this handle. It's very strange. It just goes to show you that the community is a lot bigger than what you think it is. And when you see people out there like, you know, Crypto Eddie that's got over 100,000 YouTube subscribers, you got Digital Asset Investor has like close to 250,000. You know, it's a big community. There's no way you're going to recognize them. But I saw this like, hey, the event is free to attend. Please be sure to read the FAQs. And the event is first come, first serve. Only click on links from official Ripple accounts. Never provide financial information. So here's the proper party. And you click over and it's like, oh, womp, 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 womp. The proper party. Oops, the first RSP window for this event is closed. Additional tickets will become available on September 8th. Be sure to check our official Twitter and Discord for additional updates regarding the tickets. As a reminder, this event is totally free. All links will come from our official. So, you know, what's interesting. So here's what I surmise happened. The people that have been around this community and active, many of them had said, I would love to go. I live in Europe. I live in Australia. I live in... It's not like I can just hop a plane. It's a big deal to get to this event. The people that have supported this community, even in the US, have really want to go to a proper party, want to meet some other like-minded people. And a lot of what I saw was the names I did recognize, they're not going. I can't go, can't make it, got a family, can't do it, bad timing, whatever. I got a wedding, you know, whatever it is. It like came up pretty quick. It's like, I don't know, 5 weeks of planning. Hey, the proper party's coming out. It's like in 4 weeks. So here's what happens. Like everybody has to register individually. You can't say I'm registered, but I'm bringing a guest. So everyone registers. So what happens? Everyone tells their friends. And what this turns into is a New York City. It's like, I live in New York and I tell three buddies like, hey, you going to come to the Ripple party? Here, go click here and sign up. And so everybody signs up and everybody goes and it turns into a New York sort of a fun party where probably the people that are most deserving, the people that have been around the space, that have been, you know, in and around here, a lot of this, probably half of the people that end up at this thing probably don't even know who Ripple is. I'm just guessing. This is just my hypotheses because I know what happens when, Jeff, and you and I travel for work. We end up at one of these, you know, these big, what do you call it? Work functions, whatever. There's a trade show, there's a conference of some kind. And the first thing everyone does is figure out where the party is going to be. And as soon as everyone figures out the party and you're in the know and you know how to give somebody an invite only and you can get them into the party, you become very popular at these things. And it's like, you know what a party is? Yeah, how do I get an invite? Click the link and then someone sends it because it's invite only. And so half the people there end up not even really focused on the organization or company, but they go for the free drinks and the party, right? So what's going to happen as a result, you're going to have a lot of these people here to show up at this proper party that don't know jack squat about Ripple, don't care about XRP, might even be Bitcoin maxis. Nobody even knows. I mean, you can't control it. It's not like you can say, well, how long have you been on Twitter for, or X, I should say, and how long? But I'm just saying a lot of people who I recognize and have been just a strong hold in the community can't make it. And it's so sad. Kelly's so right about this. New York City is a complete cesspool. I mean, I tweeted out a video, and it's like someone said, "Is that the proper party?" It was like garbage everywhere. It was like there's people lined on the streets, sleeping, puke, needles. And they said, "Look, we thought about where we'd have it, but let's think of the counter, right? You got to remember Ripple. Ripple's a woke company. The other San Francisco was out because that's got feces everywhere. Okay, so they go like, where's the next big woke city we could potentially have this in? So let's say, can we have it in Dallas? No, politics don't work. San Diego, the one bright spot in California that actually has their thinking straight. No, that's not going to work. Miami, hell no, we're not going to have it in Miami. Miami would be the perfect place to have it, right? Great state, great city, free state of Florida. No. Let's have it in New York City.
Well, maybe there's a reason, maybe they're consolidating their people there for future. Maybe there's a meeting going on. Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe they have meetings with institutional investors. Maybe they have meetings with some of the bigger banks, even though they could do it without doing this. I'm sure they could travel. I don't think that would hold it, be a, but there's big things, and I think some of the commentary here could be on, you've got Wall Street there. You've got NASDAQ there. Potential, is there going to be an announcement of an IPO for Ripple? Are they doing something? Is there more to, hey, just, trying to find a place? Because, well, I was in New York City maybe about 3 weeks ago. Went to Central Park, went down to Times Square. Wasn't horrible, but the things going on in the city, really bad, overall. But yeah, the cost is absurd. So are they trying to just have a select group of people that are going to show up, and basically say, don't come to this? Who knows? But Miami, Miami would have been the perfect spot, Chip. You're right. I mean, why not? Why not Miami? And then if you're going to have meetings for all the other stuff, get on a plane and go over there. I mean,
but part of it is they're having it at a really cool venue. I will say that the venue is actually, unfortunately, I don't know. Is it even on here? It's at a big theater, a big classic theater. It's big. It's got the 3 balconies. It's a massive.
Oh yeah,
they're going to have A-listers there.
It'd be nice.
They're going to have A-listers there. They're going to have, some probably bands. Who knows? People are saying Alice in Chains because the guitar player was there last time. But
yeah, it could be very. Cool.
New York used to be one of my favorite places. I mean, I'm from New York, so it's like I'm from the other part. And this is like, you want to talk about maxis. You want to meet some of the people that are some of the roughest people in the world who think very highly of themselves. Growing up on the other side of the state over in Western New York. It was like the way that people live in New York, like I'm talking about city people that live in one of the 5 boroughs, just how they think of you. So I'll be like, yeah, I grew up in New York. Oh yeah, which part? Like then they're asking me for which borough that I grew up in. I'm like, oh, I grew up in Western New York, right outside of in a real small city, called North Tonawanda, right between Niagara Falls and Buffalo. And they're like, oh, that's every single time the reaction, right? And they're like, about the city, and Jeff, we've been, you know the look, right? The thing. It's like they go like, they go, oh, and they just turn away. They don't care anymore. Like you're not one of them. You're not cool.
That's right.
And the biggest problem is they named the city the same as the state. Dumbest move ever. They should have kept it New Amsterdam. Like you would have said, like, oh, there's Amsterdam over in the Netherlands, and then there's the New Amsterdam because that's what New York used to be called. But I got something clever to do. Well, let's call it. It's like, can you imagine naming Miami, Florida? Florida. Where are you from? I'm from Florida. What part of Florida? Florida City. Oh, okay. It's the dumbest thing they could have ever done. New York City, which is in New York. Like, where else does this occur where you have the same big city named as the company?
It is pretty funny.
I grew up in New York. I can tell you that. I know New Yorkers. I know how they are. They just think so highly of themselves. They think they're the best ever. And that city is in such decline. It's collapsed. You have people like AOC who advocate. You had a company named Amazon, one of the most recognizable brands in the entire world, going to New York City, wanting to expand, bring 30,000 jobs. And this moron says, oh, no, we don't want new people coming in here. We don't want this. It's going to be, and guess what Amazon said? And Amazon is on the blue team. They're so embedded and invested in the blue team. They're like, all right, great, we'll go somewhere else. And they did. There went 20 to 30,000 jobs gone.
Man, there's a great commentary here. I'm sure we've got people from
Yeah,
the
Manhattan Center
area.
is where it's gonna be at, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Crypto Bob. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the UK might be large enough. Hey,
There you
interesting enough. I was just there 2 weeks ago. It was awesome. It was huge. It was definitely really big. There's some really nice stadiums here too, up in Orlando. Not advocating that we do anything in Orlando. I don't know, if we were to do something, I would like to stay outside of Miami though. I think it would be nice. Come to Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale would be a nice area. Miami's just difficult. Everybody comes, they want to go to Miami automatically.
Well, it's
And it's
difficult
just
for us to get down there, Jeff. It's navigate the traffic, especially like we're on South Beach. Great. South Beach is tiny, and it will take us like 25. Jeff and I drove like 25 minutes from the bridge to the destination, which honestly should have taken about 4 minutes, but because of the traffic and because of the tourists and because of it's just like it's become insane.
there is Florida City in Florida.
I'm aware of that, Lou, but I'm talking about the stupidity. Yeah, everyone knows Florida City, okay? But I'm just saying what I'm talking about is like does anybody know about Florida City? Does anybody in here know that Florida City exists? Does anybody care? I'm going to go with 0 Fs on that one. Okay. I'm talking about the most iconic city in the world. They had to change it from New Amsterdam. Dumb move.
Cynthia's from Tonawanda. Look at that.
All right. So so this is funny. So, Tonawanda, Kenmore. So like growing up where I grew up was like the big high school game was Tonawanda versus North Tonawanda. Like I lived in North Tonawanda. And so there was like this big rivalry. Tonawanda hated NT, what we called, NT, North Tonawanda. Tonawanda hated NT, NT hated NT. We had the big football game where we played Tonawanda, and it was called the TNT game, Jeff. Get it? Yep. It was explosive.
There you go. So Mark West, look at that. Born and bred in Tottenham. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, we have a lot of people here from the UK. A lot of people here from all over the world, and they're wondering, hey, why are we beating up on New York City so bad? Everybody, I was in upstate New York also. I was up in the Syracuse area, and it was the same thing. It's funny too because of people, they'll say they're from New York City even if they're like an hour away, right? Where are you from? Oh, New York City.
And well, where do we say we're from, Jeff? Miami.
Miami. Well, it's easier because you have to figure out, do people know Fort Lauderdale? It's funny. You say Fort Lauderdale. Is that on the East Coast or the West Coast? It's on the East Coast of Florida.
They're like West
Spring break Central. Yeah, but when you say Miami, it's like, oh, Miami, okay, South Florida.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's funny too with the big hurricane that was coming to Florida. I was getting phone calls. Are you okay? Are you getting any damage from the hurricane? I'm like, we're in South Florida. That hit like 7-8 hours north of us drive time. Even though we did get some crazy ass winds and rain as it was coming up the coast, like bizarre stuff.
We got some stuff.
Those clouds were very strange. I have that huge pot. I don't know how it weighs, at least 100 pounds with all the dirt and the tree and everything. And that got knocked over like out of nowhere. Blue skies as the thing was coming up. All of a sudden, I don't know, a small gust of wind or a tornado. I don't know what came through, but it knocked the one stood and the other fell over. Like very strange.
Yeah, I love all the people. Well, listen, I mean, you have to understand that I used to at least spend 2-3 times a year in New York City. Did a lot of business in New York City, and back in the day, did some business with the Trump organization. So I mean, I know the city well. It's horrific how that city has fallen. Bad management. You had someone like Giuliani that went in and cleaned it up to the point. I'm old enough to remember Times Square being nothing filled with just like pornographic stuff. Times Square used to be a complete.
Oh yeah, 42nd Street used to be interesting.
It was, yeah, and he came in, cleaned it up, got rid of all. This is the difference of opinion. People can say what they want to say. I'm like, look, the facts speak for themselves. Then you have Bloomberg, which is another interesting work. For largely kept a lot of the same policies, but really woke the city, went woke, and then you've got the last 2 rounds of mayors there just complete. You could just pick somebody out of a crowd. You could throw a dart in New York City and hit somebody with it, and they would be a better mayor. This is how pathetic the city has become. It's become just fallen under bad management. And the best part I like about it, Jeff, this is why I advocate for Gary Gensler to stay, is I love the humiliation. Because Mayor Adams, who was like, oh, we're a sanctuary city. What does that mean? That means the millions of people coming over the border got shipped to New York City. because they were sanctuary meaning they would not deport these folks. So now they're in the streets, they're in the hotels, they've taken over the schools, they've taken over, they're putting them, the displaced kids, because they're now putting them in, on some of the fields that, the kids would normally play in, the parks. It's become ridiculous, and they're collapsing under their own policies. So the policies are always great until it affects them. This is why people are like, I don't care what happens in this country. But when that's on your doorstep, all of a sudden people are like, wait, I don't think I like this so much. There's something wrong with this, Jeff, right?
Which is interesting. And we talk about policy, what's happening over in China right now, as there's a lot of developments happening, a lot of conversation over BRICS. Is BRICS going to cause a drop in the dollarization of the world? Is it going to impact our status? Can it be detrimental to our economy? It's competition. I think overall, put those policies aside, because they're trying to undermine the country through artificial means. But then you have competition. Competition's healthy, when it comes to other things. So if you're going to undermine, you want to bring and try to, destabilize your own city. That's not competition. That's destabilizing the city and trying to bring everything down to the lowest common denominator. But competition is healthy overall. So if we look at what China's doing, we have some articles on that. We'll get into that in a second. Chip, what I want to do, I want to put up some of these comments. We always have amazing comments from people in the chat as it kind of related to what we're talking about. But while we're doing that, why doesn't everyone give a quick shout out to where you're tuning in from? It's always great to see what part of the world you are in, what part of the country you're in. We see Justin Harrison he just was in Manhattan, Kansas. And by the way, this show is brought to you by Badass Yetis. Obsidian Bold is a very nice dark roast. You can order whole bean, you can order ground coffee. Go to BadassYetisCafe.com and check that out. There's some links in the description as well. Amazing coffee. Crypto 6 foot. We talked about that one. So this is interesting too, and this is important as you start looking at tax prep. But Jim D. Biden administration to require crypto brokers to provide a new form 1099 DA to the IRS and digital asset holders to assist with tax preparation starting in 1026 means the government needs and wants crypto for revenue, which is also very interesting. But if most of the exchanges now will give you a 1099, which is good. We talked about that one. So this one's interesting too. I can't believe all these exchanges have the audacity to expect Ripple to have their backs when they didn't have Ripple backs until it affected them. Really interesting things. Kelly Slade, warn your Facebook friends. Crypto scams ramping up on the platform. I just had a friend share one this morning. Yeah, just be very careful. Don't click anything, whether it's on Facebook, which is one of the issues someone brought up. Uphold. I don't like when when any financial institution emails me something with an expectation that I'm going to click that something if it wasn't in the process of me doing something. Like if I'm engaging on it, says we're going to send you an email, so please confirm it. That's different. But if you start getting emails that say, hey, click this to apply to blah, whatever, don't click it. Joe Budd is wondering about the Satoshi Nakamoto lie. Why does everyone just act like it's okay, not knowing who created it and who could tank it in seconds by opening their wallet? Why the lie? Why invest knowing it's a lie? That's an interesting one. Is it okay to not know who created Bitcoin and who's behind it? I think that's interesting.
But apparently the government supposedly met with the team that actually created it. And even Joe Lubin, I saw a video somebody posted recently where he was saying, like, they said, Satoshi Nakamoto, and he goes, the team or something to that effect, or the people, the group. I think he said the group. And so it's like apparently people sort of know, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the only reason it would matter is because Gary then would have somebody to go after. It's the only reason he can't go at it because it's decentralized, because you don't know who it is. But it was created by a human. It was created by a person, and that no Bitcoins ever left that wallet, at least to date. And Joe's bringing up a good point. If it does leave that wallet, all of a sudden it could create a lot of chaos and a lot of fear and FUD in the throughout the crypto sphere.
What do you think about Mr. Q? The whole market is rigged. They control the Bitcoin price. How do you think it can move so fast in minutes after the catalyst hits the media?
Well, listen, why do you think they want the ETF? Why do you think they want that? Why do you think institutional wants that? Money manipulation, right? They manipulated silver for years, the paper price. Gold is way undervalued. Gold should be $25,000, $30,000 at this point. But the fact that it was $1,200 10 years ago, roughly, it teeters around 2K, 1,900. Right? When you think about the gold price, that's been manipulated for years. Let's see, what else can we get into that we could actually manipulate the price? Right. But in this case, they're going to manipulate. It's going to go up, and then they're going to manipulate it down. They'll sell everything out. They'll go down. They'll manipulate it up. But again, if you're hoping for Bitcoin to go to zero, then you're hoping for to be a long, dry bear market. That's the possibility of what we're going to see there. So anyway. There's some other news here, Jeff, I do want to bring up.
Yeah, let's go through that. Here, just this last one here. Do you think XRP is a threat to Bitcoin, or at least those who are trying to control Bitcoin see it as a threat?
No. The market's too big. It's almost like saying, do you think Microsoft is a threat to Apple? Do you think they care? No. They have a similar market cap. Do you think Amazon cares? Do you think any of them? It's a big enough market. Do you think NVIDIA? Think NVIDIA thinks that Microsoft's a threat? No. Apple's a threat? No. There's so many. You think about if you go back and you look at a stock market where there's so many organizations and companies, it's huge. It's a huge marketplace. There's going to be a lot for a lot of people there. So then I wanted to throw this up there. Jimmy Fallon tweeted this out or X'd it out. I don't know how you say, sent an X post.
He posted.
This posted that Ripple files its opposition to the SEC's motion to certify interlocutory appeal. And we had a bunch of different folks, weighing in on it. You had Stuart Alderodi, who's the general counsel for Ripple, said Ripple just filed its opposition to the SEC's request for an interlocutory, which is an interim appeal. Worth a read, in my opinion, especially the footnotes. Big smile, big happy laugh face. Footnote 5 is one of my personal favorites, and we'll get into what that one is. But I love how he almost in jest here with the big smiling, especially the footnotes. And this is really good. We're not going to read the whole thing, but we're just going to get into some commentary on this. Bill Morgan, attorney from Down Under, said, my favorite too. I've been banging on about the SEC's comment that XRP has no inherent value all week. Glad the Ripple attorneys addressed it. No such finding by the judge, not relevant to the Howey test anyway, and irrelevant to whether XRP use gives its value, which it does. And this is footnote number, let me just this first, and then this is footnote number 5. And it says the SEC states at 16, it does not seek appellate review of any holding related to the fact that the underlying assets here are nothing but computer code with no inherent value. The court made no such ruling. To the contrary, undisputed evidence established XRP's inherent utility as a bridge currency to facilitate cross-border transactions. See ECF number 825 and 7. Instead, the court found that XRP token is not in itself an investment contract because it does not in itself meet Howey requirements. Boom, Jeff. I love it. Drop the hammer on that. Just totally destroying the SEC, destroying any kind of argument they would have. My God, that's brilliant.
You got to put the SEC aside. It's getting to be it's too much already. I mean, it's as though they don't even really know what they're talking about anymore. They're just mouthing off. They're spouting out ideas based on their own personal opinions that have nothing to do with the legal, rational, opinion. It's amazing. So then you introduce all these great lawyers that have worked in the space, and it's amazing. I want to say this. It's amazing that the SEC chose Ripple as their big play. It's the gift that keeps on giving for many different reasons, right? We've talked about it now for 2 years, but as it starts unfolding itself, it's kind of like an onion, all right? Every layer of the onion is kind of presenting itself, and it's crazy because at the end of the day, the right outcome it's almost like it was preordained, right? It was like Congress wasn't getting it done. We weren't going to see any type of positive outcome from a legislation perspective coming out of Congress to provide a clear regulatory path, and then this. And now this just keeps providing all this amazing, positive outcome that is going to be able to set, precedent as things move forward, which also incidentally allow current Congress, when especially when you have favorable opinions like this, it's going to allow them, it's paving the path for them to provide regulatory clarity. It's almost like without this, you couldn't get the regulatory clarity passed through Congress. We had the Token Taxonomy Act sitting there 3+ years ago. You think anyone paid attention to it? No. Never got out of the Financial Services Committee. There was a big roadblock over that, where the roadblock wasn't going to allow it out of the Financial Services Committee onto the House floor for a vote. That was Maxine Waters. She was, definitely not favorable, and neither were the majority of the people sitting on the Financial Services Committee. But Chip, I look at this, because of this, we're going to get that. It's inevitable at this point. We're going to see some crypto legislation introduced and hopefully passed through Congress in this term. And if not now, look out for it in 2024, 2025. But there have been more bills presented in front of Congress now than there ever were before. And things are becoming a lot more focused. And again, why was it that we saw that SEC case at that time on the exit of Hinman? Why was that all happening back then? And now we see, is that the case, or is this just I don't know,
Well, Jeff,
it's a tough one.
Suppose that case never was filed, right? So everybody would be living under the fear, and then we would just be celebrating this grayscale win, be like, oh my God, the SEC finally took one. But then you'd have the library loss, and all of a sudden to be this massive fear spread about digital assets, and we'd be living in a different thing. So you, like I said, we joked about it back then. It's like either we're going to be sending chocolates over to the former chair. What's his name? Why do I always want to forget his name? Former chair of the SEC, Jeff, the one that filed the. Why can't I think of it? What the hell? Anyway,
I just keep.
Anyway, I have his face, is like that red potato face in my thoughts right there. Like it's like someone will throw it in there. But anyway, so this whole thing is like we'd be living in fear right now. Like at any time, Clayton. Thank you very much.
Jay Clayton. I always say Hinman. Hinman is stuck in my.
I'm going to go with Hinman too, and Mark. Like I'm like picturing that weird potato face. Yeah, Clayton. But I'm like, Clayton actually look in hindsight actually did a pretty good thing, right? Actually, you're like thinking, well, it curtailed the market. Yeah, but look where we'd be today. Gary Gensler going after all these crypto projects on the hunt, and everyone's like, oh no, well, now what's going to happen? We've had this extended, this bear market, and everybody would be thinking like, oh my God, what digital assets? What's going to be next? And suppose you went after Ethereum, everybody like, yay, no, not yay, bad, right? Suppose that was the one they went after. Yeah, they'd have the money to go off and stave off and fight off a lawsuit. But the point is that XRP being ruled not a security, that's it, man. It's over. The SEC took a loss. They're just like, they're basically just like, it's like the old guy yelling into the wind, spitting into the wind. It's just dumb at this point. They're regulating to try to show that they got some clout and some steel. And like even the Financial Services Committee, I got a tweet here, Jeff, or an X post over here. But let's get through these first here. Ripple, this is Jeremy Hogan's commenting on it. He says Ripple starts off vicious with the Younger's case, screenshotted on the right, and then the case says that the issue to be appealed must be one of pure law. And the SEC has an issue that's part bloodhound, a little chihuahua, and a half mutt. It's a high hurdle to jump over for the SEC. You had Paul Grewal, who's the general counsel for Coinbase. Nothing but facts and circumstances. One day until it's a pure question of law. The next, Stuart Alderodi and his team appropriately weighs to his hypocrisy. Just to took them apart, man. This is just fun right now. This is just beating somebody senseless that can't even fight back at this point. John Deaton commented on Paul Greenwald's content and said, very interesting that Paul used the word hypocrisy. Judge Knepper used the same word to describe the SEC's inconsistent positions as well. And then Bill Morgan finally said Ripple gave notice to the court that the SEC's given leave to appeal. It will seek to cross appeal on the institutional sales. It also made clear that it will defend any attempt to treat post-complaint sales to on-demand liquidity customers as investment contracts. This case has so much further to go. Then it's the one I wanted to get to, which is the Financial Services Committee. Chair Gensler's agenda exceeds the SEC's statutory authority. We've been talking about this for years now, and threatens the dominance of U.S. capital markets, something that's they're supposed to, help. The SEC is pushing significant rules with paltry economic analysis and little understanding of the comprehensive impact of its proposals. And this is a great article titled Gary Gensler Unleashes Biggest SEC Regulatory Blitz Since the Financial Crisis. And guess what? Just like the blue team is losing, this guy is one of the biggest losers of all. And I want him to stay. I want him to take his punches. I want him to be throat punched about 10, 15 more times. So it's so humiliating that the only real thing to do is to just walk away, tail between the legs. He bends the knee and succumbs to all the losses. It's just incredibly phenomenal. I want to see him continue to lose. Look at that. You wanted to step in the arena, chump? You're getting your ass handed to you. You're getting browbeat. You're going to get hammered in both of these hearings. You're going to get beat up. And then when we have Byron Donalds on Monday night, we're going to just sit through and talk about the fact he's like, come on, you're under oath. You're under oath, Chair Gensler. And he's like, okay, yeah. Here's the bagman for the Hillary Clinton campaign who paid for the Alpha Bank hoax, which was a complete joke. Nobody went down for that. Also paid for the dossier, the Steele dossier, right? Paid for that. He was the bagman. He was the one making the payments. And he was like, I don't know. Well, let's investigate that. Forget all this other crap. Let's investigate that. Let's get FOIA requests on all the checks that were paid, because it should be all public knowledge. It was a public campaign. Let's see all the checks that were paid. And I want to see how much money was paid and Gary Gensler's signatures on that. Let's take him out by humiliating him just a little bit more, because the humiliation is like down here for me. I want it to be up here, Jeff. That's where I want that to be. I want that humiliation to go so far. Best way to do to him is take him out. Byron Donalds took him apart, destroyed him on the stand, and he was just like a cat. You see when a cat plays with the mouse, even the mouse is like laying there and it just pings him in the head and bops him around. That's what Byron Donalds did to Gary Gensler. Just played with him like he was a piece of meat. It was glorious, and I can't wait to talk to him about it.
It's going to be awesome. Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Congressman Byron Donalds. Mark your calendar. We are going to put out the reminders after this show, so it gets in. Put it into your calendar. Don't miss it. But there's a lot of things that you unpacked on that one, and I'll go back. Did Jay Clayton predict the outcome here? Was there already staged planning as to why the last thing he did on his way out of the SEC was dropping this lawsuit towards this path, knowing who was going to replace him, knowing that this would probably blow up in his face? And we said that right in the beginning, right from almost day one, when we started talking about this. I said, it looks to me from a political perspective, just like you said earlier, you can't take politics out of it. From a political perspective, it looks like Jay Clayton planted a landmine for the SEC chair that was to follow him. And it was a political landmine for him. They, whether they liked Ripple or not at that point, because it was at that point still considered to be a woke company. But it didn't seem like they were undermining Ripple. Ripple had the wherewithal to defend themselves. They had the law on their side, and they had the piggy bank in order to financially cover all of the attorney costs that it would take to fight the SEC. Biggest case in history for crypto. The library case was just kind of a footnote, but the Ripple case is major. Why? Because it singles out a big corporation that's taking on Swift, and we can't undermine any of that aspect of the facts of why the case presented itself. Again, they're taking on Swift, which is a conglomerate of over 10,000 banks. That's direct competition to Swift. Swift controlled the marketplace since 1974. That's a very, very significant fact and people seem to, forget about that part of it. And so where did Jay Clayton stand on it? And then as we move forward through all the fighting that the SEC has done, we also saw FTX rise and fall. Who collapsed FTX? At the time, it collapsed because it was also funneling tens of millions of dollars over to the Blue Party. And that happened right from day one. They came into being in 2018. By 2019, they were one of Biden's largest donors, next to Soros. How was that even possible? Where did their money come from? How did they get tens of millions of dollars? Why was it that in 2020, 2022, and then they were supposed to funnel hundreds of millions of dollars into the blue team by 2024? They're gone. They collapse. They have no money, no money going over to the blue team. All these things are connected somehow. Someone's got to figure out how you connect all the dots. It's all out there in front of us. Somebody also referenced the collapse in the chat here. I think it was Robert talking about more wars with China, Russia, and the dollar collapse. Dollar isn't collapsing. The dollar isn't going anywhere. No one's moving over to the rupee. No one's moving over to the yuan, the renminbi. No one's moving over to the ruble or whatever. No one trusts them. No one's moving over to BRICS as their primary currency. BRICS is going to be a small competitor to what's happening with SWIFT, what's happening with Ripple. They're trying to create some sort of economic power play to offset the dollar. So what? Let them do it. That's great. That's fine. They're not going to collapse the dollar. We're not going to have a war with China. We're not going to have a war with Russia. We got to pull back. 2024. We got to set everything back on a corrected path. We have people that are warmongers right now that are doing things to undermine everything. This administration is packed, filled with people that are not qualified for the tasks of the job that they gave them. We have people that are men wearing women's clothes, running the military. You've got people running the border that aren't qualified for that. People running the airline. What is that? The towers, whatever, the thing, whatever that position. That person's not qualified across the board. No one's qualified for the positions they hold. That's why things are bad. You can't put all these people in power.
They want in the Air Force and the Navy, they want to bring the amount of people that are currently doing the job. They want to bring that under 40% because they want diversity. It's like, well, until we start talking about, listen, it's all about excellence.
Exceptionalism. Exactly.
It's exceptionalism. It's like that's how stupid people are. It's like, okay, let's go to the NFL. Let's go to and say like, oh, no, we have to have an equal amount of this person and that type of person. No, it's about people that are the best at what they do. There's a reason, in basketball you don't see a lot of people that look like me because they're just not exceptional. That's the bottom line. It's like you have to be exceptional. You know what I mean? It's like you can have some token, white people, but it's like the best people are why you have, the play on that level. It's like, and then you want to go ahead and take down because you're trying to fulfill some magic box. It's really ridiculous, Jeff. Look at this right here. I wanted to put this up here. Look at this. So this guy, Will Charles, always like, and all the comments, right? And all the comments, he has to do this. Like, I think there's some kind of like zany stuff. Like every single comment that's left on our video, Chip's feet stink. And then like in here, I'm like, how insane do you have to be to do this? But Jeff, it's actually a really nice compliment, Jeff, because if you look at
wash your sock.
yeah. So if you look at the Urban Dictionary, what does it mean to have stinky feet? It's to be attractive or do something that's cute and silly. You're said to have stinky feet. So you know what? I appreciate that, Will Charles. Thank you for the incredible compliment. You're fantastic with that, but it's getting a little bit old. Like, how long are you gonna run a joke into the ground for? It's like that will be like what comes up on every podcast and be like, Chip's feet stink. I'm like, really, dude? All right, but thank you for the compliment. That's very sweet, very nice of you to say.
So Chip, Crypto Eddie chimed in here. There's a reason. There's a reason for all the things that are happening right now. I believe that. There definitely is a reason. Things are unfolding to a certain point. If you guys, I'm sure you guys all know Crypto Eddie. If you don't, go check out her podcast. But I know everybody knows who she is. She does an amazing job, probably one of the best in the space. Just quick. I'm just going to fly through two things real quick. One, someone brought up, will Turkey as part of NATO step up in defense if or we have China, or if China and Russia or whatever gang up on Turkey, does Greece, whatever. But it's interesting because Turkey is creating a stable coin that is indexed. I don't know if Turkey's doing it, but someone did this. A stable coin indexed to the Turkish lira.
Why?
I don't I don't know.
In God's name, like, of all the things you could think about to even exert some effort on, what's next? The rupee? I mean, my God, holy cow. What?
As
the future of finance. I mean, first of all, Jeff, that's more unstable than the rupee. I mean, come on, it's what? It's stable, but the problem is that the lira is not stable.
It's not, yeah, but they're trying to do it for Turkey. So here we have taken upon ourselves to prepare the Turkish people and Turkey for the upcoming financial revolution and to create equal opportunity for everyone. So these people are thinking down the road. They say, hey, we want to create an environment where we have the stable coin for Turkey because they see the future of where we're moving. We're moving into this interesting future. And here you have Chinese court recognizes virtual assets as legal property. You can get in, kind of read this property classification. Here's a news source. Is it true? Who knows? Titled Identification of the Property Attributes of Virtual Currency and Disposable Property Involved in the Case. Explicitly recognize the economic attributes of virtual assets leading to their classification as property. What's going on in China? What's going on in the world? Nothing makes sense anymore. China I thought would be contrary to that, but everybody knows the direction this the economy is moving in and financial assets are moving in, and it's going to be very interesting.
I think you should name their stablecoin global. Oh, look at this one here. Oh, Jim D.
The lira unstable coin, not the stable coin.
Do that up there already. Do that up there.
There you go.
Turkey currency collapsing. They're dumping gold to sell and try to salvage, but losing their ass. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, they would have been better off pegging it to something else, like peg it to USD to XRP. Or Bitcoin or something. Almost anything would be more stable. Yeah, the most stable coin out there is XRP. Wasn't built to be a stable coin, but
it's very stable.
I mean, I do appreciate what they're trying to create, but again, peg it to something else that makes a little bit of sense. Peg it to gold. Peg it to the price of gold. Like something of real world value that is going to be stable. Who wants to create a stable coin that's tied to the Turkish lira, which is like dropping? I mean, you could go to Argentina, you could go to India to maybe find more coins. Like, are we going to see like stable coins, pop up there tied to their sovereign currency? I don't know. It's a really kind of a weird thing for me, but
I wonder if we can get some. Let's see. Wooter, Bitronet, MetaVest, Mex Global, Paxful. Nope. I don't know any of those, but Kelly finally commented, it's the FAA. That's what I was. That was like,
Jeff, what's going on
20 minutes ago. What happened?
It's completely gone. Kelly's like, Kelly will come in with the right answer.
Thank you.
Always look at this right here. Front often, Jay Clayton, many exclamation points. I mean, we talk about Jay Clayton so much, that potato head little nut job. He's always on TV. He's like, I'm not going to comment on that. He goes, what do you think about the recent SEC? What would you do? I'm not going to speculate. Well, dude, you've been speculating about all kinds of shit, but when it it hits the fan, you're like, I don't know. He never wants to be pegged on any opinion, but they bring him on for his opinion, and nobody cares. You're the old washed up. The only thing that saved you from being a bad chairman was Gary Gensler being a horrible chairman, right? So it's like, what do we care about? Jay Clayton. But Jay Clayton, I don't know, those box of chocolates we were going to send him, Jeff, wasn't a bad idea. It did tank the market and crush the price, but there is clarity, baby. 2.5 years later, clarity.
2.5 years, clarity. Hell yeah. Space says, I was a multi-millionaire when I was in Turkey in lira buy, and that was before Erdogan, whatever his name is.
Erdogan, yeah.
You know what I'm saying. You know
the thing. Come on,
Steve
Jeff.
Walker says BitBoy was honey trapped.
Yeah, listen.
Where did that come from? That just came out of.
Well, this whole thing about BitBoy. I mean, first of all, whether you like BitBoy or not, listen. Everybody in their lifetime will go through something that's not, like we have ups and downs and stuff. The fact that it's been out there publicly is a little bit disturbing to me. The people that release phone calls and stuff out to just humiliate and hurt somebody. When there's, originally came out in the camp of BitBoy when his holding company, he doesn't own the rights to his organization. They got rid of him. He came out and did an apology video. If you haven't seen it, it's out there. But he came out and did an apology video. His wife was on his arm. He announced that he was taking diet pills, but also steroids. If you guys don't know what some of the effects of steroids are, has to do with heavy mood swings, right? And some libido issues, right? So, and in a very aggressive manner. So he also announced that he had an affair. His wife is supporting him, saying she has a lot vested in that. And only BitBoy could turn that into an opportunity to go buy his merch, do everything else. Like, it turned it into like an apology video, but that's what BitBoy does. That's his stick, his shtick. And I think that I only want the guy to return to form. And yeah, okay, he came on and appointed himself the extreme, the supreme XRP leader and all that stuff. It's a shtick that BitBoy has, okay? But he's largely built a community. Listen, he was smart. He bought Bitcoin early, became a millionaire. He rolled the dice. He made a big risk. And you know what? I don't think you should tear anybody down, even people, that are you don't care for. I've never been a huge BitBoy fan, but I don't like what's happening out there and people tearing them down and hoping for someone to fail. I would never hope for somebody to fail. BitBoy built an amazing industry, and Jeff, he's got a lot of subs, millions of subs out there, and people. It's not right. Listen, go support the guy. Everybody has some failures, but most people's failures don't materialize in a very public fashion. But I've only, just hope and pray for the guy to just like get better and kind of return to form and let him do his thing. Everybody, we have to have difference of opinion out there. And thank God it was one of the guys who was always the Bitcoin maxi that did come to XRP. And when he did, he got knives thrown in the back.
Oh my God. Well, the way he did it, I think you can't come as a Bitcoin maxi, but it's kind of like, you get a lot of people, they, like the born again, whatever religion, they find religion and all of a sudden they're the most outspoken and they're the ones out there trying to convert everybody, So here's Bitcoin maxi guy finds XRP and he's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. I got to tell everybody about it. And I want to be the most, known spokesperson, that's going to be outspoken about how great the XRP digital asset was. He took his maximalism for Bitcoin and just put that same thought process into XRP for right or wrong, whatever it was. Modelo time. Thank you for that. He got an XRP as magic shirt. I don't know. I think it's magic. Can't be 100% sure, but I think it is magic. That is an awesome one right there. It's a great shirt. There's a couple other great shirts out there. Also, a good way to support On the Chain. You're wondering, hey, how can we support On the Chain? A couple of different ways. You can go onto onthechain.io. Go to onthechain.io. Go check us out. And then you can go and register on the website. You can make sure that every time we finish one of these, we send you an email link with links to the video, links to the podcast, links to a summary of everything we say. Or you can also, and you can also go over to the shop. There's links. Everything's in the description below. You can go check out the Badass Yetis. You can go check out the Badass Yeti coffee. There's multiple ways. Hey, I wonder how I can support On the Chain. Those are all the ways. The best way is to make sure you show up here with us 3 days a week. Invite your friends, invite your family. It's a great blast, fun hangout place. Look at all the great engaging chat. You guys are by far the best, the most amazing, the smartest in all of YouTube crypto space. That's why Crypto Eddie comes and hangs out too, because she's the best. She's hanging out among the best. It's awesome. You guys are amazing. We stream 3 days per week. And even Will Charles is like, those are cool shirts. Oh yeah, they're cool shirts. And the coffee is even cooler. Check out those amazing graphics. Check out that amazing Badass Yetis coffee, badassyetiscoffee.com. It's awesome stuff. You guys are awesome. Again, 3 days a week, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday morning. We got an amazing group here, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And guess what? This week, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Congressman Byron Donald's. Don't miss it. Don't say, hey, are they really streaming Monday night at 8 p.m.? Yes, we really are streaming Monday night, 8 p.m. with Congressman Byron Donalds. We're going to post that and make sure you put that in your calendar. Don't miss it and invite friends to that one. That one's going to be awesome. We are going to tear it up. It's going to be great.
That was great, Jeff. It was fantastic. Said everything that needed to be said.
The
links.
We'll let you know.
We'll let you know, but
I'll let you know.
I'm smelling some stinky feet, so it's time to go. You guys crack me up. I love you guys, all of you. You really do. You guys really. Thank you, Lou. Yeah, I appreciate your contribution. Everybody's contribution that comes in here. You guys are phenomenal. We appreciate everything you do, and yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. It's really fantastic. But we're also just something else. Another note is we have right now, if you haven't ever gotten a Badass Yeti, a Blue Tribe member, the Blue Tribe member, well, we're releasing the White Tribe probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, maybe sooner. We'll see. But Jeff and I have been diligently working on that. It's work. We put a lot of work in, but we're having a blast with it. And the White Tribe, the Blue Tribe is very rare. So there's only 589. The White Tribe, there's more of them. But if you hold a Blue Tribe Badass Yeti, it's a 1-to-1. So if you own 2 of them, you'll get 2 White Tribe members. So we'll have more details on that. But it's pretty exciting that you'll be able to. Some people own 6, 7. Some people have all of them, every one of the clans inside the tribe. And so if you own all of them, you'll have the opportunity to do a 1-to-1. That's why we're hyping it up now and talking about it, because we'd love to sell out the Blue Tribe. It's a great way to be part of the community. We have a Discord that people come in there and talk as well. It also, if you own a Yeti, it also gives you a discount on the coffee, which is fantastic. So if you,
a Blue Yeti, you own
a Blue Yeti. So we're almost 70% sold out. We have 30% left to go. Help us get over the edge. Help us sell this out so we can get on to the next one. Well, I don't know about that, man. That's dangerous right there. That would be some kind of a dare. That's a bet you lose, right? That's a bet you lose. But although my feet are pretty clean and I'm a clean freak, you guys don't know. My mother made me wash my hands like 50 times when I was a kid. So I'm constantly washing my hands, like this weird fetish I have, always on my feet as well. So pretty clean, I can tell you that.
Mr. Q, we love On the Chain. Many thanks, guys. Keep it up. I love the hangout. Yeah, we love it as well. It's so much fun. I love seeing all the chats. I love seeing new faces, old face. We have people that have been here. We're watching old videos from a couple years ago. We have a lot of the same people that are still here chatting. It's amazing. Really is amazing. And definitely stay tuned. We've got 2 projects getting ready. We got the White Tribe, like Chip mentioned. We have another one that we're working on that we think everyone's going to be just in awe with. It's going to be pretty amazing.
We're happy about it. We're super
happy about it. It's come out so amazingly. Once that White Tribe drops, there's some other plans for the Badass Yetis as well. There's some other communities out there we've been chatting with, and so hopefully, we're just loving the direction of the Blue Tribe, of the Blue Tribe, and the White Tribe. White Tribe is cool. White Tribe.
And we also did a drop of the Unchained Elephant. So if you own the Blue Tribe, you had a free drop, and thank you very much to Daniel over at Unchained Elephants. We did say that there was an elephant saved. I did support the project myself personally.
They saved an elephant. That was
amazing. Saved Canoon, and that was amazing. It was like a 40-year-old elephant that was chained up for 40 years, and now it's going to be able to roam free. And that's humanity. That's what really a lot of people, and where a lot of this newfound wealth from crypto millionaires is going to come from, is all the great stuff that I know that you guys are going to do in the world, that we're going to do together. And that, it's like no one thinks about an elephant, but you save an elephant like that, man, you got to feel good at the end of the day. A project that has some really strong utility that is, in the ethos. So anyway, that's all we have, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night, and we'll also see you on Monday night with Congressman Byron Donalds. So 2 of them, there it is right there. So it's amazing to see. It's a great project. Go support it. Unchained Elephants. Get out there and support that project as well. Love that. Been a big supporter of us as well, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, that's all we got, guys. We will see you on the next one. Chip and Jeff.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.